the voice, the sound, the vibration, in whatever way you can make it. Whether you use your voice, or you get a singing bowl, or you listen to music, or you just go outside and listen to nature sounds. There are so many ways that you can help heal yourself, relieve anxiety, open your heart, create heart healing and coherence, and transform your life. You can.
In today's busy world, how can we find the inspiration, knowledge, and energy to live a healthy and empowered life? If we balance and harmonize our mind, exercise our body, live according to the laws of nature, and connect to spirit, can we find a way to heal, become our authentic self, and live our purpose with love? I am your hostess, Amy Fournier, and welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite. Hey, have you ever had a lump in your throat and had trouble speaking? Or maybe you notice, like, when you feel nervous, like you get to talk in front of a group of people or have a presentation, or just something makes you nervous and your throat's really tight and you hear the pitch of your voice go up higher. Or maybe you notice when you went through some sort of hormonal change, like puberty or menopause, or other times in your life, your voice changes. Well, we've all experienced the connection of our emotions and our voice. But I don't know if you are aware of how important and powerful your voice is. I know I wasn't until I prepared for today's show. In fact, all ancient texts have all placed sound as the basis for all existence. And universally, the sound Om is known as the seed syllable for all of life and all of sound. And in fact, when we're an embryo in our mother's womb, and we're less than a millimeter big, the first sensory organ that develops in our body is not the brain, but the inner ear. So sound is critical for our functioning, our awareness, and our sensory input and output in the world. In fact, sound is a major, major source of energy and information, and the power of our voice and our own unique frequency that our voice is, and the way we use it or not use it, will directly affect not only others, but ourselves. So enjoy today's show with Ruth Ratliff. And welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. Wow, did you feel that? My guest today is Ruth Ratliff, and she is a holistic voice coach and sound healer. Thank you, Ruth, for that amazing demonstration of that beautiful tool. If you want to explain what that was that we just experienced.
Certainly. Hi, Amy. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm very, very honored to be here speaking with you today. And that was one of my 4 bowls. I have a set of 4 of these. 4. They're called Optically Pure Quartz by Kaliski. And they are handled singing bowls. And I use those in my both of my private sound baths and my group sound baths. Along with the other crystal bowls and the metal bowls, and I have a gong and a monochord. So anyway, that is just, to my mind, that is the clarity of sound of those bowls is exemplary.
It is supreme.
Absolutely exemplary. And the clearer the sound, I think the higher the therapeutic value of the instrument.
Indeed, the more powerful. And for that matter, one of the things I actually want to ask you is, just for the audience, particularly the audio, the podcast listeners, how much of that would you say is lost in the digital translation and transmission, Ruth, for the frequency and the vibration, which is what sound is?
Actually, from what I'm hearing, I can only go by what my clients tell me. Not too much.
Okay.
It's more of a physical experience when you're in person, obviously, because you're getting surrounded by that holographic bubble of sound with the vibrations. But when you put earbuds in, that's the trick too. It's to listen to do when you're doing a Zoom session, online session with somebody, or if you even if you're listening to a YouTube video of a sound bowl, always wear earbuds or headphones because that's going to give you the best listening experience, because there's something to do with the way the sound doesn't communicate well ambiently over internet, right? So that, but it's pretty profound, the connection, because I believe that what's happening is it's really my intention. My intention is, it's like these bowls are an extension of me. They're an extension of my voice, my inner voice, my intention for my clients. So I feel like that is what is really being communicated over the internet.
100%. Okay, we could just stop the show right there. I think
just go on that, right?
I mean, right, done. Okay, like that is just such the thing, Ruth. I can't even believe you just said that. I mean, that is the power of prayer too. I mean, yes, the sound, the frequencies, it's, we could talk about that, the resonance and the amplifying it and all that, but it's really about the intention and what's behind it and the emotion, the putting yourself in it, your heart. And do you want to just expand on that a little bit for us to conceptualize?
Sure, yeah. A very famous sound therapist, Jonathan Goldman, he came up with a really wonderful formula. It's called intention plus frequency equal healing. So intention always trumps frequency. And I know there's a lot of information out there where people do, believe that, you have to use a specific frequency for a specific ailment, or, the heart chakra is always F because that bowl was a heart chakra bowl. I don't believe that. I think that the intention absolutely is king in that regard. And there's some really cool new research coming up now from HeartMath and also from other biophysicists and that are doing working with the cells. And one such biophysicist, Glenn Rain, he just put out this paper that he works with DNA function and self-repair, and he studied what a cell does, what the DNA does basically with coherent heart energy, which the sound therapy does help you get you into a coherent state. And he found out that coherent heart energy, like that feeling of love and openness and connection, combined with what he calls a subtle energy, and subtle energies are frequencies, that can provide activation and repair for our DNA.
Wow, indeed. Well, we also know that even modern current scientists are studying the effects of changing DNA in living creatures with just frequency and sound and vibration. Like there's research showing a frog can be changed into literally a salamander, like a different creature, by just using sound.
Wow.
That's pretty, and the ramifications of that, I don't know, maybe I'm just paranoid, but that's kind of like a lot of power. I mean, thinking they could expose sound to us, people. I don't know who they are, but people can expose it to other people. And
Sure.
Literally you're changing your DNA. And we know that, back to your point about intention, because words affect us, right? And it's not always what you say, but how you say it, which is intention, right? Like, I love you, or I love you. Like that all felt different, right?
Tone of voice is so important. As my background as a voice teacher for 20 years and a vocalist, a singer for many, many years, that's my focus really, is the sound of your own voice as being your instrument of healing and connection. And your voice is your own superpower, literally. It really can be. But yeah, it's all about intention. And the thing too about how sound can heal or harm, sound has the capacity to actually transform matter. If you're familiar at all with the study of cymatics, right? So
Dr. Hans Jenny.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And most recently, another scientist who his name escapes me at the moment, but he devised the instrument called the cymoscope.
Oh.
And that's where you can see, if you've seen droplets of water, the way what sound does to a drop of water. They can record that. It's all, yeah, you can see it all over YouTube. I'll have to send you
Sure,
a
sure.
link to that. Maybe you could use it in the video. But it
Sure.
basically, each frequency creates one specific shape, one specific geometric shape, sacred geometry. And then when you bring in the overtones, like in the human voice or a piece of music, it creates this absolutely magical sacred geometry that would put a snowflake to shame.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sound does to you inside. It actually shifts your energy body. It shifts your physicality. It shifts your molecules, and it lines you up. It kind of like I like to say, it brings you back to your factory settings.
Very nice. Reset, a hard reset.
Right, it's a reset. Literally, it's a nervous system reset. Yes.
Excellent. I love it. Well, that's like the work of Dr. Emoto with Messages of the Water. And everybody knows we're primarily water in our bodies. So the sound, as all forms of energy, because sound is just another form of energy, like light and angle and shape, is all a way of affecting our cells in one way or another. In fact, I've learned that sound is most closely associated with shape, sound being the mantra and shape being a yantra. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but those two are the most interchangeable, which I thought was very interesting.
Right. And sound and light and color, all the same thing. It's all frequency. Yes.
All the frequency. And the interesting thing is it's about the ones that we can detect. Like people, and this is something that's hard for people, conventional science. Like if you can't slice it, dice it, measure it, it doesn't exist, right? But just because we can't detect it, perceive it, doesn't mean it's not there. Like we see the spectrum of a rainbow, but there's more than that. And sound, I've even heard, it can be described as being a frequency that's within our auditory range. So, but there's more than just what we can perceive, right, Ruth?
Yes, there are sounds that are absolutely outside of our auditory range, like there are colors outside of our range as well. And we'll look at EMFs. We can't see them, but they certainly do affect us on, in many levels. Microwaves too. It's all radio waves.
Sonar.
Yeah, that all affects us. But about science, I mean, I love science. I was a bio major in college. I love science. But science is limited. It's limited to our limited understanding of the way the universe works, right? And we're learning. And that's why I love quantum physics, because it's so there. I think the quantum physicists are more they're like a little more open-minded, I think, so a lot of this stuff is coming out now about that. Have you seen the movie? It's like an old movie. What the bleep do we know?
Oh, heck yeah.
A long time ago. It's like the best movie ever
Yes,
to
indeed.
explain all this, right? So yes, it's
Perfect
so
title.
profound.
Yeah. Indeed.
Right, because really, what do we know? We know that we don't know, but as I said, there's so many more people now, scientists that are, I think they are secretly fascinated by this stuff, and by the paranormal and metaphysical world. But I think that they are a little bit closed-mouthed about it because they don't want to, jeopardize their jobs, I guess.
Which is what's happening. It's a modern day witch burning. And, I think that's the definition of a scientist is supposed to be someone who is observing. It's an observation. So you can't deny what, just looking and seeing, it's not about going in closed-minded, already expecting what you think you're going to find, which is really a shame.
Or skewing the results to fit a certain narrative, which is I know we're getting
we're
there.
saying the same thing, but anyway, and I think back to what we were saying before, though, it requires a certain amount of humility too. Like there's a lot we don't know, but isn't that great to have that childlike curiosity of wonder, of oh wow, or what if, and Einstein's famous quote, imagination's more important than intelligence, just to keep your imagination and to live in that other realm and the possibility, to live in the possibility and the what if. That's exciting. Otherwise, how boring if why would you watch a movie if you know the ending, right? I mean,
Absolutely. And it's so the excitement generates the as you say, the childlike excitement
mhm,
that generates a lot of positive frequency and vibration. And that's why
mhm.
in me doing embarking on this journey of sound therapy for myself, it's bringing up so much wonder and
Awesome.
awe. And gosh, I can just imagine that that carries over to my clients, to other
Of course.
people that I speak with. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps
Yeah,
just
you're
talking about
emanating
it,
it. I mean,
because
that's an energy. So you're resonating on that frequency, which obviously is very attractive, and people feel it. So it's
but
very,
that's, so many people have their heads down and are just doing their 9 to 5. And I was there too for many
mhm,
years. We all work through that. We have to make a living, so to speak.
mhm,
But there, to keep that wonder, that sense of wonder with the natural world, with yourself.
mhm.
Like, what can I discover today about myself?
Love it.
What can I discover? What can my body tell me about how I
Mm.
feel today? You know, to ask those questions.
That's just such I'm just pausing on that because that is such a beautiful just thing to really take in. Like, when was the last time you woke up and expected to have a sense of wonder blanketing your day, or just even to think about that? We're just so automatic and doing what we got to do and being responsible people and all this stuff. Like, no wonder why life has no color. No wonder why we self-medicate and overeat or drink or whatever it may be, shop online, scroll, pick your thing, right? I mean, just to 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 be open to the unexpected, the magic, again, that childlike. I love that we're talking about that. I think it's worth suggesting to everyone and maybe bring it back a little bit to bring some more joy into your life.
Right? Or even just, before you get out of bed in the morning, just run your hands over your body.
Hmm.
Just give your body some appreciation and love.
Check in.
It
Hmm.
does so much for us. Just check in. Just
Hmm.
that simple act alone can shift your frequency, can shift your perception of your day.
And it's a very small but powerful act of self-love,
Yes,
because you're just paying attention to your inner landscape, to your inside. Like, we don't do that, right? We're all externally focused. And I
very.
know we're gonna talk about deep listening, and maybe it's a moment I don't know if it's too soon, but I wanted to talk to you about deep listening because I know it's a big part of your work.
Yes,
Do you want to share with us your thoughts on that?
sure. Yeah, I think that, as you were saying, and I totally agree, that people, especially now, are looking so much more outside of themselves for answers. And I think there's a real upsurgence in people doing readings and the tarot and so forth, because everybody's looking to somebody else. You're going to solve my problem. You're going to tell me what's going on in my life, right? Your own inner intelligence, your own divine connection is always with you. It's just like waiting for you to recognize that. That is not something that it's not something I think everybody is attuned to. I certainly was not attuned to that. Maybe a little more as I was a younger person, but it took me many, many years to really get that sense. So what I've learned as a vocalist, as a singer, is that a lot of times listening, a greater like a facility for listening really can be very helpful in finding and connecting that to that still small voice inside of us. And that does require just sitting sometimes, and it doesn't have to be for very long at all. You could actually just start by just closing your eyes for even a minute or so. Listen to all of the noises that are around you. You can hear the humming of your computer, you can hear the birds outside, a car going by, I did an exercise with this at a class I did, and people were amazed at what they heard just by tuning in to that little deeper listening. And then you're going to tune in that after you cultivate that a little, you tune that in to an internal sense of listening. And you will start to, I noticed that for myself, you will start to get almost like a sense of a hum. There's almost a sound. There's a sound inside of all of us. Our body also has a resonant frequency, but I think each of us has a sound. It's like your soul's signature in the physical. Mm-hmm. And you can start to hear that sound, and if you want to, you can reflect that back with your voice and make that sound sometimes, and I've taken people through that, and it's very powerful. It's very profound. But to just to listen, to just open your ears, and you can even ask your body to help you with that. Say, what can I hear today? What would you like to have me listen to today? It's very simple. It's very subtle. And a lot of times you're like, well, what am I hearing? I hear nothing. Because it's not like immediately apparent. But there is that attention, as we were saying, that act of self-love, just in and of itself will be something that will be able to give you that deeper sense of grounding in your body, of being embodied. You've heard that word before, being in your body. And it gives you it gives you a calm, that calmness, the heart coherence, that heart-brain coherence. You don't even have to make a sound to have that happen. Mm-hmm. But then if you add your voice to that, like a hum, a low hum, or a low, that's going to really supercharge it.
No, really ground it.
Right.
Yeah, and I just love that because it's just truly the most simple act of self-love is, we know even with little children, feeling seen and listened to, and talk therapy. I mean, psychological therapy, just having someone to talk to, calling a friend when we need to be heard. We need to be seen. Or now, with all the cancel culture and social media and speaking their voice and all this crazy, canceling each other and all, people wanting to be heard and, to matter and to be heard. But I think if we can give that to ourselves and like you said, maybe you're like, I don't even know what I'm listening for. I don't hear anything. I can't do this right. That's not even necessarily the point. It goes back to the intention. Like you're taking the moment to just give that to yourself of trying to listen, of just intending to go within, to give yourself an opportunity to speak. And if you haven't been speaking to your inner self for a long time, it might not start talking right away. It's like the dog you keep kicking and it's in the corner. It might take a while for it to come back to you. Terrible analogy, but you know what I'm trying to say. It might take a while for the voice to come up, but keep asking.
And we've all been shut down, especially as children, even our parents not knowing, with, it's just, I found that doing like inner child work, combining with inner child work is exceptionally healing and powerful.
Indeed.
Just to make a little sound, and even if you're frustrated because you can't get, that's all builds up. It's all energy, literally, that literally is trapped found in the nucleus of our cells. And that's where your voice can be the activating stimulus to release that. Even if you have to just like make awful sounds, just allow yourself to make like funny sounds or awful sounds. We're also suppressed.
Yes. Don't judge it and don't censor it. Let it be the natural. Yes. Your body's wisdom knows the noise you need to make to heal.
I'll tell a real quick story.
Please.
I was seeing a myofascial release therapist for a while, and what they do is it's like massage, only they use compression instead of the kneading. So she was compressing my chest for a really long time, and what it does, it melts the fascia, and that's where a lot of our constrictions are.
Memories are in the fascia.
Yes. So I just remember my body vibrating, starting to vibrate like crazy. You know, my body was releasing a lot of energy. It was vibrating, and she was like, "Just go with it." So I said, "Okay." And all of a sudden, this primal yell comes out of my mouth, like, "Ah!"
Nice.
Completely involuntary.
Hmm.
It was the most bizarre feeling I have ever experienced, but
Wow.
my body chose to express, to release the trauma through my mouth. She was crying, I was crying.
Ruth,
It
the
was,
same thing happened to me. I can't
oh,
even, this just happened to me. What month are we in? This just happened to me seriously like less than 2 months ago. The same thing. And I felt really bad because my dog was there and my dog freaked out because I was like coming on to me. I couldn't stop it.
wow.
Nor should I have, right? But it was almost scaring myself because the noise I was making, Ruth, it wasn't human. Like it scared the bejesus out of me. It was this, and you talk about that in your wonderful book, The Primal Voice, and the different reflexive sounds that we all as humans should make naturally, like crying and sighing and yelling. Don't suppress those. That's like suppressing a burp or a hiccup or something, right? Like, or a sneeze. Yeah, don't suppress what your body's telling you to do. But anyway, just I can relate to your
Wow.
example because that just happened to me. That's unbelievable. So our body holds memories.
No, I know it's scary, and I've worked with some of my clients, and I have a course called Crystalline Voice Transformed Through Sound, where I do one-on-one as well. It's an online course, but I also offer one-on-one Zoom meetings as well,
Mhm.
and it's been really profound what people are sitting on in their lives,
Yeah,
and then what can be released with
repressed.
that voice. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
it's incredible,
so
and you
much
wouldn't think it's like
repressed.
it's free. You
Yeah.
carry it with you. It's accessible. It's yours. It's
Hmm.
yours. It's
And
your
you
vibration. Your body loves the vibration of your voice.
and you talk about how it's we have to think of our voice as a tool.
Right.
I
Yes.
mean, and then the like a very it's almost like a Swiss Army knife tool. Right? I mean,
Because it
because
has a
it's a
lot of different things.
that's what I'm saying. We
That's
like
right.
you can go low, you can go high, and then that's going to produce a different effect, like the tool, right? Like a hammer is different than a wrench. So that's very, very interesting because what would you say to people? Let's talk about the personal voice. And I love how you mentioned we all have a very unique resonant frequency and just like a fingerprint, right? Your book mentions
Yes.
that
Yes.
our resonant frequency vibration is unique to us just like our fingerprints are.
Your voice print is absolutely
Voice
unique,
print.
just like your fingerprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Um, but what would you say to someone who doesn't like the sound of their voice or they feel like, because we all know, the radio announcer, oh, wow, what a great voice, or obviously the singers, but I'm just talking someone in a speaking voice like me. I hear I'm doing a podcast and I hate listening to my own voice. And what would you say? Like, are there ways we can improve the quality and tone and the sound for others?
Mm, mm. Oh, that's such that we could spend the
Yeah.
whole time on that. But yes, just what you can, because I've worked with people to expand their voice through for singing, to
Yeah.
make music with their voice. It's somewhat similar, but I would just start by saying that you are doing your voice and yourself a great dishonor by your not accepting the sound of your voice. Number one,
Yeah.
to be able to
Hmm.
come from, okay, I'm not crazy about the sound of you, but but the EFT tapping, I still love and accept you unconditionally.
Yes. Anyway. Hmm.
Anyway, is far more empowering to do
Hmm.
that. So yes, you can. There, what I would say honestly is what has helped is a little bit of both worlds, from the primal sound to the voice training, traditional voice training.
Hmm.
Do a little bit of that sounding. Just allow your voice to, I'm going to make some funny sounds. Here's a warning. Hey, hey. Just make some sounds like the sounds that we make every day. Oh, wow. Yeah. Huh. And and just feel the range
Okay.
of the sounds that you can make. Then also what you could do is just make sound on an open tone like an ah or an o, just to and feel like you're opening your throat. Ah.
Ah. Oh.
Oh. And you feel the vibration in your throat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You can do that,
Oh.
Amy. Yeah, you feel how that vibrates?
My whole body.
Right. You're and that what that is doing, that is building resonance
Yep.
because you have your own resonating chamber in the back of your throat. So the more you can have that feeling of expansion in the back of your throat, the more resonance you're going to build into your voice, the more it's going to sound bigger, it's going to feel bigger, it's going to carry more. It's going to be more
Okay.
satisfying for you and for your listeners. Because those people that have those beautiful radio voices, like James Earl
Like you.
Jones
Like
comes, oh,
you.
well, thank you. Well, though, that is from training. That's from
Right.
training and having that, expanding that back of the throat. And
Back
there's
of
a
the
couple
throat.
things you can do. I have these exercises. They're so crazy. But if anybody, you have a straw.
Not handy, but I'll just use my
No,
phone. Or
but
no.
you can
Okay.
do, I'll tell you something else you can do. You can
Okay.
do resonance building exercises. They're called semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, big long name, SOVT. And when you're occluding or stopping the sound, that has the net effect of opening the throat and thinning the chords. So if you do something like a voiced V,
Uh, uh,
or a humming's good too, but I like the voice V because you're letting a little air out. Feel that? Feel the
yeah.
resonance? Do you feel it buzzing in your throat too?
Yeah, it tickles my lips.
That's a very good way of building the resonance. Also, if you have a straw, this Adele's vocal pathologist helped her rehab her voice from vocal nodes with this exercise.
Wow. Blowing in a straw.
Or if you want to blow bubbles in water, it's even better.
Wait, blowing bubbles with a straw into water helps your voice?
Yep.
How? Why? Like how?
Well, just
What's
it's the same.
happening?
That's the thing. Same thing. You're building back pressure,
Back
and you're
pressure.
opening the throat, and you're thinning the vocal cords. It's fun. It's
You
like you're
want the
fun.
vocal cords thin. Okay.
Yes, you don't want them because as we get older too, they become less flexible, and the fluid content of them, becomes the
The
osmotic content.
viscosity.
Right, you lose that elasticity. So this can help.
She's blowing into, just for people listening, she's
It's
blowing into a
crazy,
bottle.
right?
That's great.
But that has been really good because then, if you want to use your voice in a way, a more meditative way for the vocal toning, or just making sacred sound with your voice in some way, chanting, you're going to have a much more satisfying experience
Yeah.
of your own voice.
Well, I love how well, let me just say from what I understand, there's not a lot of people, but it's not uncommon for people not to like the sound of their own voice because it sounds different to us because
Yes,
we're the chamber putting it out. But to
right.
others, they're hearing it different because they're not inside us. You know what I'm saying? Like our voice is
Right.
projecting out, but
Yes,
we're inside it listening from the inside. So
exactly.
it
And
sounds,
you're
yeah,
hearing your voice from inside your head. And you're
yes,
also getting the lower tones do not uh, come out.
transmit.
The higher tones, right? The higher tones actually resonate farther than the lower tones. So you're only hearing a partial complement of your voice
Wow,
as
that
that,
makes
as well
sense.
as hearing it inside. So a good thing to do too is
Mm,
if you put your hands behind your ears.
yep.
You'll have a more like bring your ears a little forward with your palms with your hands,
I got
and
headphones in, but yep.
right, and you'll be able to hear your voice as more as people hear you.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, you're changing your listening device,
Right,
your
right,
external listening
right.
device.
And that was huge for me as a trained singer. That was one of the things you had asked me. But going through menopause as a trained singer, this is another huge subject for, especially for women singers.
Yep.
You know? The the perception that your voice is going to change. You're like carrying that within you. That's like a conversation that's very common amongst singers, and
Oh,
we fear that, you know, our voice changing through the change.
I didn't
So
know that. Does that happen?
yes, your voice is very affected. Your vocal folds are extremely affected by the lack of estrogen, and it has to do with the hydration, yeah, of the folds. So because they're the outer three layers of the folds are like jello that hasn't hardened yet, and that's what you're singing on. So if you're dehydrated at all, you know, they're not gonna oscillate as freely.
The vocal cords.
Yep. So,
Wow.
so that was big for me to start using my voice, to accept the way my voice sounded, and to start using it as an instrument of healing for myself and for others in my sessions, and to be able to free myself up to make sounds that weren't perfectly on pitch.
Yep.
You know, I didn't have to stay in a certain vocal line. I didn't have to worry about using my diaphragm. It was all just very organic and natural. And the freedom that I have found, the healing, the expansion from the use of my own voice in a more organic way has been it's been incredible, really.
I love that. So, ways to use our voice a more organic way, Ruth, would be improvising words to songs, letting spontaneous sounds come out, or
Just spontaneous sounds. Just start with a little hum.
okay,
Just you gotta pretend you're like 5 years old
yeah,
again.
how fun! That's sign
And
me
just
up.
and give yourself permission to be
Yes, silly.
playful,
Uh-huh.
silly, and
And to sound
experimental.
bad.
Right, and to sound what you think is bad.
Yes, sorry, correct.
It's self-perception, I know.
Yes,
And that is the biggest piece that we have to overcome, is that self-judgment.
indeed. And you know, and I read that somewhere in my preparation to speak with you today, that, as you know, words, singing, humming, chanting, these are all forms. But when I was reading about singing, it said the benefit of the singing is not the singing. So it doesn't matter what it
Right.
sounds like, you know, the judgment.
Exactly.
Like, it's the
Exactly.
fact that you're doing it.
Yes.
That's the healing effect.
Yes.
Okay, so everyone needs to hear that. For though I can't sing, I can't carry a tone. No,
Doesn't matter.
you're still going to get the healing benefit from singing just because you're doing it.
Yes, it doesn't. It matters not. And you don't have to be, that whole thing about having to sing. And you know, as much as I think, you know, American Idol is all fun to watch and everything, I think that just promulgated the shutdown of people of not wanting to use their voices, because they think, oh, if I have to sound like that, then why, you
Right.
know, I can't sound like that. Well, no kidding. These
Right.
people have been, you know,
Yeah.
everybody has their own gifts, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean you can't use your voice. As I said, it's for everyone. This is a tool. This is a sacred tool. It is who you are, literally. It matches. I worked with human bioacoustics. I had
Mm-hmm.
a session where I spoke into a microphone, and the practitioner gave me a graph, and the graph had highs and lows, which were indicative of what they call frequency-based biomarkers. And
Mm-hmm.
those biomarkers are where you're out of tune, you know, with the subtle frequencies. And my blood work, which I had had just a few months before that, matched my voice print.
I was going to ask you about that. That was your experience at the Davis Center for Sound.
Yes. Yeah, it
Yes,
was
and
actually, yes, there was somebody
yep.
who worked at Davis Center and who I
Uh-huh.
went to. It was incredible. I was like, what? And then they treat you with tones.
There you go. That's amazing. So the graph showed the areas of your body that you had issues based on your sound projected into a recorder.
Correct.
Nuts.
Correct. Nuts.
Yep.
And that's from the
Yep.
work of Sharry Edwards, to give her
Okay.
credit. She has
Yep.
been amazing, amazing in this, as a pioneer, really.
So important. So important. So, and how beautiful, Ruth, because it's non-invasive and you're not taking a drug, you're not taking a surgery, but the fact that you said it was treated, or I don't know if that's the correct word, or addressed by certain tones to rebalance and harmonize and heal,
Right.
as opposed to taking a pill with side effects and all this crazy. or whatever. The
Right,
tone.
and that's what the bowls can do. The sound therapy can help with that as well. And I don't, sometimes because it's very difficult in my sessions, I'm working very intuitively, so I'm not
Hmm.
like, it's not a scientific method
Yeah.
per se where specific frequency for a
Hmm.
specific ailment, but I'm working intuitively, and there's something to that. It's like that should not be discounted because that's also our superpower as human beings. We all have that intuition, that guidance, that inner guidance, that energy, whatever you want to call it, that comes through, and we it's experiential at this point. Let's just say there's a lot more work, scientific discovery that's being done about that specifically too as well. But it is experiential at this point. But you can't. But I would think that experiential proof should not be discounted either.
Indeed. And to your point that that's truly what being present is being in the moment. That's your intuition. That's, oh, I had a, like your example, if you had a client, you had a plan, but for your session probably, but something came up and you were like, I'm going to best serve this person this way. So you're present and you're adaptable. Adaptability is critical in everything in life. And,
Definitely.
and for that matter, it even has to do with rhythm, right? Because getting entrained or learning a new song or a tone or a pitch or whatever, you have to adapt to that new rhythm. And that could be symbolic to the rest of your life, and how flexible, adaptable are you when you need to make a change, something new.
Yes, entrainment is a really interesting concept. I was just
Hmm.
watching on Gaia
Hmm.
TV. It's Gaia
Yeah.
now. They have a really wonderful series out. Is it The Sound of Creation? I think is
Yes,
the name of it.
I
Have you been
love it.
watching that?
Love it.
Yeah, it was so
Fascinating.
fascinating. Oh my God! And they were just talking about entrainment on the episode I was watching last night. And we entrain to other people's energies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why, as a practitioner, I have to be very discerning of what's mine, what's theirs. And I think people don't realize that how connected we truly are. You're in training to nature sounds, you're in training to other sounds in our environment, other energies, that may not be that may be harmful. And I think that's why the use of therapeutic sound or harmonious sound is so important for us as energetic beings to help us stay clear and to stay, to vibrate with our own true sound rather than that of the others in the environment or other people.
And I think your point of entrainment, it shows to the importance of us being astute and selective in our environment, because we are being affected. It's a two-way street, affected by, and we're affecting out two ways. So the people are around, but also, and that's part of why music's so powerful, because we can use music to entrain ourselves and to change our mood. Like
Oh, I know.
to work out, to have more energy. I got to put on a certain song I like, so I want to move, or to calm down, relaxing music. I mean, of course, so that entrainment can be used to our advantage if it's used intelligently.
Beautiful. Yes. And I mean, some songs, don't some songs just open your heart?
Oh, yeah, like
Oh my
Happy by Pharrell.
gosh. Oh, it's just there's just
Hmm.
some music that just
Joyous.
explodes you into this feeling of all like it's almost like
Expansiveness.
love, just
Yep.
love, just
Hmm.
that is it's so beautiful, and they're finding that the more we can get into that, that's like the brain and the heart always talk to one another. There's a lot of information that goes back
Uh-huh.
and forth, and I know they're finding out now that the heart actually sends more info to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, and the heart is like I think our heart is honestly the brain of our body. I think
It
the
has
brain's
a
like a
brain.
very right. It has
Yeah,
a brain. Yes,
it
you're
has
right.
a brain, the heart
Yes,
brain.
and
Dr. Ibrahim Karim talks about that.
beautiful.
Hmm.
And the more we can get into that coherent state, that heart coherence,
Mm.
through the voice, through music, through sacred sound, through meditation, so many other ways you can access it, that the more we build resiliency, and resiliency can help us to sort of weather all those ups and downs that we have in our lives, and have more equanimity and calm, and to be able to make better decisions from that viewpoint, from that standpoint, from that state, to have more ease.
Yes, I love it. I love it all. Now, you are an extremely experienced holistic voice coach as well as singer. I'm curious, with all your experience working with all your students and clients and workshops and things, what do you find are the most effective things that your students do that really get the best results? Like, people really do well by finding a good soundtrack and listening to it every night, or they really do well when they get a tuning fork or a sound bowl, or I don't know, just any of your other methods. What do you find is really the things that help people the most?
Well, in training, I actually stopped teaching last summer to
Oh.
devote more time to the sound therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience with my students, the most movement that they got, not only emotionally, physically, and from a standpoint of opening their voice, was working more with their somatic movement with their body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's something that I work with crystalline voice as well. The more, people are always thinking of out, singing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's all out here, but really it's you want to bring the voice into your body, and to free up constrictions in the body, because this is our instrument. And if we're not liquid, we're meant to be very liquid in this world, to have a lot of movement and to flow, and your voice will not flow if you have constrictions. So a lot of times I would work with people, I would do yoga poses, I would do qigong with them in the lessons as well. I would also work with yoga bands. There's a wonderful modality that Mark Moliterno has devised called Yoga Voice. I took a couple of those a couple of those classes, and the more you can embody, get yourself feeling embodied in your body and grounded, the more your voice will be able to, the more expressive you'll be able to be, because you feel safe. That's the piece, is that we don't feel safe expressing ourselves because we don't feel good in our bodies.
Hmm.
You know,
Safety is a common denominator of so many of my discussions.
and now especially people do not feel
Mhm.
safe. There's so much anxiety, especially among teens. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And even my husband and I noticed that. He's a piano teacher,
Wow.
and the two of us, with working with so many teenagers over the years, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. It's almost like it's getting compounded, and it certainly was compounded these past couple of years with
Yeah.
with
Hmm.
the pandemic. So it's
Well, that's so sad to hear. And but I can totally respect and resonate with what I hear you saying, is that if your body is tense, your body is the instrument. It's the chamber.
yes,
So how good is the projection going to be if the chamber is like squeezing like a vice, inside.
right. Or you're singing or speaking from the neck up.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a metaphysical doctor that's one of my mentors, and she talks about how for women, our voice needs to come from the second chakra, the hips, as opposed to the throat chakra, which is more masculine. So, do you have any thoughts on that, on a woman in
Mm.
particular speaking from the hip region as opposed to from the neck?
Yeah. Something funny comes to mind. What is her name? Really famous Broadway singer, very
Uh,
petite, blonde, beautiful voice.
oh, yeah. I can see her face. I don't know
Yep,
her
yep.
name.
I can't think
Mm,
of her name, but
she's
she was on
tiny.
some
Yeah,
talk show once, and
tiny.
the 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 talk show host asked her, well, how do you get those high notes and
Yep.
everything? Oh, Kristen Chenoweth,
There you go. Yep.
and she
That's it.
said,
The blonde. Mm-hmm.
and she looks over and she goes, well, you gotta sing from your hoo hoo.
That's funny.
In her funny little voice, but oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God. But
That's good.
literally there's, and it's interesting to me that she said that, but yes, there's a feeling of being very very much go into that first chakra, even down into your
Hmm.
thighs, and I work with the feet too, getting your pounding down with your feet into the floor to feel grounded and to bring that sound up from there.
Hmm.
But what was really interesting, this one's, it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, but an otolaryngologist was married to a gynecologist, and they compared slides of the vocal folds and the cervix, and
Yeah.
the cells were identical.
Uh-huh.
So it gives new meaning to the phrase "as above, so below."
Yes, and it's funny. I've actually talked about this in my shows because it's actually related to orgasm and the cervix, and
And sex cells are in the larynx.
there
Yes,
there you go. So I
yes,
mean, so like the more orgasms you
crazy.
have, the better your facial skin is going to look.
And make
That's
noise during those
yeah.
orgasms too.
Well, is didn't your book wasn't
Uh,
your book that mentioned that research done, I think it was by Dr. Christiane Northrup, showed that women giving birth who vocalized more
yes.
had do you want to if they had a
Yes, yes,
easier
yes, she found out that in her experience, women
mm,
who vocalize more during the labor process
yeah.
had less complications during the labor.
There you go. Because you guys, this is for the audience, it's energy in your body that needs to get out. It needs to move somewhere. I mean, that's what, disease is stuff that's kept in, that you repress it, suppress it. You have to emote. We have to emote. That's what emotions are, energy and motion, right? We have to get it out. And the voice in the sounds we make is one form of energy release expression. So important.
Yes.
I love your work, Ruth. I think it's phenomenal. Uh, you're beautiful, beautiful. What did you call that? It wasn't a bowl, the crystal at the beginning of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
can you
I'll be
just possibly
with a
play that
handle.
again?
I sure can.
I gotta get one. Okay, everybody, listen up. And if you have headphones, even better. Sorry if you're not, but we'll just maybe you can get some benefit. Oh my God, that was like angelic. Everyone, that was Ruth spontaneously playing that instrument, and then she just sung a few notes for us. I wish I could have said that was me. But
Aw.
that was her. That was so beautiful. So powerful. I just love these simple, natural things that are just transformational. And and like you said, your voice is free. It's right there, your own resonant chamber. How beautiful.
Absolutely.
Ruth, do you have anything else that's on your heart before we close out the show today? Although there's a zillion more things I would love to ask you, but out of respect for your time, is there just anything else you really feel the need to share with people?
I just feel that this is such the voice, the sound, the vibration, in whatever way you can make it. Whether you use your voice, or you get a singing bowl, or you listen to music, or you just go outside and listen to nature sounds. There are so many ways that you can help heal yourself, relieve anxiety, open your heart, create heart healing and coherence, and transform your life. You can transform how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your life and how you live it. And you can access this power of sound therapy. It's to create that state, that beautiful, calm, harmonic state of health and well-being. It's nothing complicated. You don't have to be part of an HMO. And of course there's part of that, that has its place too. Certainly, we have all that. That's the thing. There's just so much more than we can do to help ourselves. It's just taking the time to, it's believing it. It's just starting it. Do that one thing in the morning we talked about before. That one thing. Scan your body in the morning. Just start and just say, what can I do for you today, body? Or just say thank you. That one thing just will start you on that journey.
I love it. And then maybe you could add a little humming or singing and making up words and just having fun and being open, and non-judgmental of yourself. I think that was a big theme today that I was hearing you share with us, that just don't judge it, just let it out. Beautiful. So important. Ruth Ratliff. Wow, you are an amazing woman. Please tell people how they can find you, what you'd like to offer. I'm showing for the YouTube people, Awakening Aphrodite podcast, Fit Amy TV, her beautiful book that I have, which is an enjoyable, short but powerful read, which is exactly the way I like it. The Voice of Women's Wisdom is her book. And Ruth, how can people find you?
Certainly, they can look me up on my website, and that is my name, RuthRatliff.com, RuthRatliff.com. You're going to have that down in the in the information. And from there, you can find out about my therapy. I also offer online sessions as well with the sound therapy, as well as in person. I work with groups in person as well. And my program, Crystalline Voice Transformed Through Sound, is also accessible through my website, and you can find out about that as well.
Perfect. So much great stuff to share with everybody. Everybody, I do hope you check her out. She obviously has a lot to share. And Ruth, I'm just super grateful that you took the time to share your life's work with us and your important wisdom and love. Thank you so much for being on the show.
My honor, Amy. Thank you so much for everything you're doing as well.
My pleasure too, my friend. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And if you enjoyed the show and found it helpful, you know what to do. Please share it with someone else so we can share this important healing wisdom that I love, that it's free. We all have a voice and we can all heal, and we all need to be healed. And how empowering. So like the show, subscribe it if you feel inclined to, and we'll see you next time on Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. Bye-bye. Would you like to support my mission to help empower people all over the world to be all of who they truly are? If so, please subscribe to the show, leave a review on iTunes, and share it with a friend. And if you're looking to take immediate action to align your energy and optimize your health, visit amyfournier.com. Thanks for listening to Awakening Aphrodite. Let's awaken her together in you. I'm your hostess, Amy Fournier, and I already can't wait to be with you again and for you to hear what I have planned for the next show.
Thanks for listening to Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. To learn more about Amy, check out her website, amyfournier.com. That's AMYFOURNIER.com. You can also check out Amy's live and on-demand virtual fitness and yoga classes, and sign up for her newsletter to receive a free mini ebook of 3 of her top tips for making holistic health a lifestyle. Again, that's amyfournier.com, and get your ebook sent to your email immediately. Connect with Amy on the daily on Instagram at FitAmyTV, FITAMYTV, and watch many of the podcast episodes and subtopic clips on her YouTube channel, which is also Fit Amy TV. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time on Awakening Aphrodite.